If I had known that touching that package would send me to prison, I would never have touched it. 1 second. One mistake. 6 years behind bars.
This is not a story about talent. It's not a story about luck. It's not even a story about success. It's a story about mistakes that didn't break me, but should have taught me earlier. I was born in a place where life didn't offer many choices. People there didn't ask what they wanted to become. They asked what they could survive as. My family struggled. Not dramatically, not loudly, quietly, constantly. The kind of struggle where bills are paid late, clothes are worn too long, and dreams are postponed without anyone saying the word dream. I was the eldest son. That mattered more than I understood at the time. Behind me were my younger brother and my sister. My older sister had already married and left home, starting her own life far away from our daily problems. As the oldest, I was supposed to be an example. Instead, I was a warning. From early childhood, I was restless. I couldn't sit still, couldn't stay quiet, couldn't walk away. If there was a fight, I was there. If there was an argument, I stepped into it. Sometimes to defend someone, sometimes to prove something, sometimes for no reason I could explain. I wasn't born angry. I became angry because I didn't know where to put my energy. Physically, I was strong, stronger than most kids my age. Adults noticed it. Kids respected it. Teachers feared it. School never worked for me. I didn't hate learning. I hated sitting still while my mind burned. Numbers blurred together. Rules felt meaningless. Lessons felt disconnected from real life. My grades were bad, consistently bad. Teachers called my parents. Meetings were held. Promises were made. Nothing changed. My father tried everything he knew. He yelled. He punished. He threatened. He wasn't a bad man. He was a tired one. He believed discipline would save me. He believed pressure would shape me. But pressure only made me harder, not better. My mother was different. She defended me when she could. She worried silently when she couldn't. She saw something in me I didn't see myself. Or maybe she just hoped harder than the rest of us. Despite all this, I had one skill that saved me more times than I deserved. I understood people. I knew when to talk, when to listen, when to joke, when to stay quiet. I could read faces, feel tension, sense opportunity. I could walk into a room of strangers and leave with connections. Back then, I didn't see it as a skill. I just thought I was good at talking. Years passed. School ended. Then college. My friends moved forward. University acceptances, plans, goals. They talked about futures like they were guaranteed. I watched from the outside. No degree, no clear path, no patience. I felt trapped in a place that expected nothing from me and got exactly that. That's when the idea formed. I would leave. I would go abroad. I told myself it was for my family. I told myself it was responsibility. The truth was simpler. I was running. Running from failure. Running from expectations. Running from the version of myself everyone already knew. When I told my family, the house went quiet. My mother cried. Not loudly. Just enough. My father didn't argue. That scared me more than anger would have. He just nodded. I left with confidence and zero preparation. The foreign country didn't care who I thought I was. I didn't know the language, didn't understand the systems, didn't know how easy it was to be lied to. People promised me work, then disappeared. I worked long days, then didn't get paid. Some men smiled while cheating me. Some didn't even bother. I trusted too fast, believed too easily. Once, I worked 2 weeks straight and walked away with nothing. Another time, I lost everything I had in a single deal. And one night, I slept outside. No bed, no safety, just cold ground and the sound of a city that didn't know I existed. That night changed something inside me. I realized how thin dignity is, how fast confidence disappears when survival takes over. Slowly, painfully, I learned the language. One word at a time, one mistake at a time. I worked heavy labor, construction, carrying, cleaning. My body was my currency. I was strong, so I survived. Eventually, money came, and when it did, I failed again. I wasted it. Clubs, parties, temporary friendships. I told myself I deserved fun after suffering. I didn't send money home. I said I would later. Later never came, until the phone call. My mother was sick. Not a cold, not something temporary. Serious. There was no money for treatment. When I heard, my chest collapsed. Everything I had ignored rushed back at once. Guilt, shame, fear. I returned home immediately. When I saw her, I couldn't look her in the eyes for long. She smiled anyway. That almost broke me. I reached out to people abroad for help. Friends, partners, men who once laughed with me. They vanished. Phones unanswered. Messages ignored. That was when I learned the truth. Most people don't abandon you when you fail. They abandon you when you need them. I managed to find money somehow. I borrowed. I begged. I swallowed my pride. She got treatment. She survived. But I wasn't the same man anymore. For the first time in my life, I slowed down. And that was only the beginning.
After my mother survived, I went back abroad again. But this time, I didn't leave as the same man. Something inside me had shifted. Not dramatically, not overnight. Quietly. I stopped chasing noise, stopped pretending fun was freedom, stopped lying to myself about who I was doing this for. I told myself, this time, you work with intention. I didn't want my body to be my only asset anymore. I had already felt what it was like to be broken physically and empty mentally. I wanted something that didn't disappear when my strength did. So I started watching people more closely. How they talked, how they negotiated, how they positioned themselves without lifting a finger. That's when I realized something uncomfortable. The men making real money weren't the strongest, they weren't the loudest, they weren't the most educated either. They were the ones who connected people. And I had always been good at that. Opportunity didn't arrive with fireworks. It came quietly, like most real turning points do. I met her by chance. She wasn't flashy. She didn't try to impress anyone. But she carried herself like someone who had never doubted her place in the world. We talked, then talked again. Eventually, she told me who her father was. He ran a massive construction corporation, one of those companies that never sleeps because money doesn't. One day she asked me a simple question. Can you find workers? Not skilled professionals, not executives, workers. Men willing to work hard, show up on time, and stay. I didn't hesitate. Yes, I said, because that was something I knew how to do. I knew where desperate men were. I knew how to speak their language. I knew how to earn trust without promising miracles. For every worker I brought in, I got paid. At first, the money was modest. Then it grew. Then it multiplied. I wasn't lifting bricks anymore. I wasn't breaking my back. I was building something invisible. Connections, reliability, reputation. Money started coming in consistently. For the first time in my life, I wasn't reacting to problems. I was planning. I sent money home. Not small amounts, life-changing amounts. My family didn't ask questions. They didn't celebrate loudly. They just breathed easier. My father stopped worrying about tomorrow. My siblings started planning futures instead of escapes. That feeling, knowing you were useful, is addictive in the healthiest way. I stayed focused, mostly, but old habits don't disappear quietly. They wait. They watch. They look for moments of weakness. My birthday came. Friends insisted on celebrating. A restaurant, food, laughter. I told myself it was harmless. Just one night. Just people who knew me. The celebration ended late. That's when someone offered me a ride. Not a close friend, a friend of a friend. I hesitated. Something in me paused, but I ignored it. I didn't want to look paranoid, didn't want to be the guy who overthinks. I said yes. There were 5 of us in the car. I sat in the front passenger seat. The ride barely lasted a mile. Suddenly, black vehicles blocked the road. No warning, no explanation. Doors opened. Men with authority stepped out. Everything happened fast. Weapons, commands, hands on my shoulders. I didn't even have time to ask what was happening. They pulled all of us out. We were separated. I kept telling myself this was a mistake, a misunderstanding. I had done nothing wrong. At the station, silence became heavy. The others avoided eye contact. That's when fear turned into clarity. They knew. I didn't. Later, the truth came out. The men I was with were involved in drug trafficking. Not small time, serious charges. I laughed at first. I thought it was impossible. I was just in the wrong place. But law doesn't care about intentions, it cares about evidence. And evidence had my name on it. At trial, everything I didn't think mattered. I was in the front seat. When the car stopped, someone in the back asked me to pass a plastic bag from the glove compartment. I didn't look inside. I didn't ask questions. I just passed it. My fingerprints were on it. Inside the bag, drugs. Lawyers argued. They spoke well. They tried to separate me from the others. But fingerprints don't explain innocence. They just prove contact. The judge listened, then spoke. 6 years. 6 years in a foreign prison. I didn't feel anger at first. I felt disbelief, then rage, then emptiness. Prison doesn't break you all at once. It strips you slowly. First your privacy, then your pride, then your sense of time. Days blur, nights stretch. I replayed that moment 1,000 times. The decision to get into the car. The second I agreed. That was the real crime. Inside prison, I met men who deserved to be there, and men who didn't. But the walls didn't care. Rules were simple. Respect or be erased. I learned to be quiet, to observe, to control my temper for the first time in my life. Strength inside prison isn't about fists. It's about restraint. I read. I thought. I remembered every warning I ignored, every sign I dismissed as paranoia. I realized something painful. I wasn't unlucky. I was careless. I had spent my life believing strength would protect me. It didn't. Responsibility would have. 6 years passed. Slowly, painfully, but they passed. When the gates opened, I didn't feel victory. I felt humility and fear. Because freedom isn't easy when you've been stripped down to nothing. I went home.
When I came home, I didn't announce it. There was no celebration, no speeches, no dramatic return. I walked into the house quietly, like someone who wasn't sure he deserved to be there. My mother was the first to see me. She didn't ask questions. She didn't cry. She just held my face with both hands and said, "You're alive. That's enough." That sentence did something to me that prison never could. I stayed home for a long time, longer than I expected. I didn't rush into anything, didn't make promises, didn't talk about the future. I needed to relearn how to live without walls. My father finally spoke one night. He told me something I didn't know. Every dollar I had sent before prison, they had saved it. They didn't touch it, didn't spend it, didn't even mention it. They believed I would come back. That belief terrified me more than failure ever had. I made a decision then. I would never leave again. Not because I was afraid, because I was finally ready to stay. I didn't try to build something big at first. I started small, very small. I invested carefully. I asked questions. I listened more than I spoke. Every decision was slow. Every step was intentional. I remembered prison nights, how time stretches when you waste it. I remembered sleeping outside, how fast dignity disappears. I remembered my mother's smile, how fragile life really is. Those memories became my discipline. Business wasn't easy. I made mistakes, lost money, trusted the wrong people again, but not blindly this time. The difference was simple. I took responsibility. No blaming, no excuses. When something failed, I asked why. When something worked, I asked how to repeat it. Months turned into years. The business grew. Not explosively, sustainably. I didn't chase luxury. I chased stability. I paid people fairly. I kept my word. I avoided shortcuts. Slowly, my name started meaning something again. Not fear, not strength. Reliability. I watched my siblings build their own lives. I watched my parents rest easier. That mattered more than numbers ever could. Today, I live comfortably. Not extravagantly. Comfortably. I wake up without fear. I sleep without regret. Sometimes I think about that boy I used to be. The fighter. The runner. The man who thought strength meant control. I don't hate him. He got me here, but I don't follow him anymore. If there's one truth I learned the hard way, it's this. Life doesn't punish you for being bad. It punishes you for being careless. Responsibility doesn't arrive with age. It arrives with consequences. And peace, real peace, isn't loud. It's quiet. Like coming home and knowing you don't have to leave again. My name is Baha. This is my story.